Go to the active speaker on there.
All right, I guess I'm first here. I couldn't figure out how to put my hand up. Sorry, Sean.
All right.
After looking at the film, what seemed to be some issues with the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll start where I started after the game, John. I give them credit. They've got a couple good players up there, and they did a good job. I thought schematically they did a good job as well. And overall, we could have done a better job in terms of our one-on-one or one-on-one blocking, both in the run and the pass game. We can help too schematically at times, and so I think it was a combination of both, really.
And where do you feel Dion is right now physically, understanding what he went through not too long ago?
Yeah, I mean, he was tested along with everyone up front, as we knew we would be, and I think that's one of the things we have to go back and look at as coaches is the overall package that we put together, knowing how we were going to be challenged and look to improve this week on just the performance overall, right? So our quarterback was affected too many times. We weren't able to run the football early in the game well enough. And so, again, that starts with me. And I look forward to getting that corrected this week.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Sean, obviously, you've heard the term overreaction Monday, and that's basically what today is. Everybody is either overreacting to a win or to a loss. But internally, when you went back and you watched the tape, what did you learn about your team? And I guess, is it easy to turn the page and say, like, hey, we still got this. We're still a really good team with really high expectations?
Well, I think you are what you are, and that's as that saying goes, right? I mean, right now we're 0-1, and we got to turn the page, as you mentioned. We've got to get ourselves ready for a tough divisional game. Establish yourself every week. Do I feel like we have a good football team? I do, but we got to play that way. We got to coach that way, and so we have a good week in front of us to get ourselves ready to go, and it starts with the mindset first, getting ourselves back and resetting where we are and getting ourselves ready for a great week of practice here.
Thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean, Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking a little bit of time. When you went back and looked at the film, one of the things that I don't know if it stood out to you, was that the Steelers didn't have to bring a lot of extra people to get pressure on Josh. How concerned?
You broke up, Josh. You said, how concerning is that? I can't hear.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
How concerning is that the Steelers didn't even have to bring extra people in order to get to Josh?
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to a little bit there, Josh. It's a combination of, it's concerning. Yes, it's concerning. There's no doubt about it. It's a matchup game. It's a one-on-one game in a lot of ways. Football is, and yet at the same time, we have to make sure that we're helping them, putting them in position, and changing things up enough as well to create favorable situations for our team as well.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering, it looked like you were rotating Ike and Cody there in the first half every couple of series, and then looked like it was mostly Cody, or pretty much all Cody, in the second half at the right guard spot. Just your thinking behind what you did in the first half as opposed to the second with that position.
Yeah, again, just going off of what Cody was doing in there, I thought he was doing some good things, and you try and go with at times the hot hand, if you will. Overall, I don't think we were ever got into a real good rhythm on offense. So hard to say a hot hand in that situation. But in answer to your question, that's the way it was played.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, just kind of going off of that idea of having that rotation, just what did you see from the defensive line as a whole? You guys were able to, get different combinations of guys in there. Just overall, what did you see from those guys there?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job of playing a lot of bodies in there. Eric Washington did a good job with that and rolling the bodies. I think we were fairly well thought out in that plan. And I thought some guys factored into the game and showed up. Ed Oliver being one of them. I thought Rousseau did some good things. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison with the sack fumble or strip sack there. So there was some good production from a number of guys. We got to continue to grow every week with that unit, because that's an important part of our defense.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, with Isaiah McKenzie yesterday, was that his same shoulder that was bugging him for a bit? And then obviously he had that strong return to start the game, but what did you make of his day as a whole?
Yeah, I thought he did some good things. Obviously got us off to a good start with the return. He did bang his other shoulder. It was actually his other shoulder this go around. But I thought he did some good things for us, in particular on special teams.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, Mike Catalana, when you look back at the play, the fourth down play and the throwback pass to Breida, have you had a chance to look at that again? Was it execution? Was it their recognition? Was it the call itself? What are you seeing now?
I thought just overall, we got to give ourselves a chance to get the first down, and we didn't give ourselves a chance to get the first down, Mike. And that's probably the most disappointing thing about it.
And one thing you guys never really did last year was that sort of snowballed into they scored, then the block punt and all those things, sort of like a bad moment turned into 3 bad plays. Did you sense that from yesterday? And that's something you guys avoided over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, the game usually comes down to a few plays, a handful of plays here or there, and they all happen in a stretch of X amount of minutes, it felt like, and the momentum changed drastically, to your point. And there's a saying that goes, before you win, you got to prevent yourself from losing. And in those situations, I didn't think we gave ourselves a legitimate chance to win the game. And that's something we got to do better this week. I mean, when you get a punt blocked against you for a touchdown, statistically, that's hard to win in those games. And then, we don't give ourselves a real legit chance on that fourth down to gain the first down. You go back and you say, hey, we got to do a better job there as a coaching staff.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, Pat.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the differences and the challenges of coaching the first couple of games compared to when you have more book on an opponent. Is that what you were referring to yesterday?
You have to give me an example of what you're referring to here.
Well, meaning you have more film study, more game film on an opponent. With Pittsburgh, your first couple of games, you don't have as much game film.
Right. Well, if I'm hearing you correctly, understand your question. There was not a whole lot of game film in the NFL, at least from their offensive coordinator, Canada. So if the question was about that, then yes, that's what I was referring to.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Adam Benini, they just asked me to unmute. Can you hear me okay?
I got you. Yep. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, thanks, man. I didn't see an indication on the screen. Hey, just kind of going back to yesterday, your teams are always known for being so prepared, right? I mean, you've done a very solid job of that. When you analyze what went wrong against Pittsburgh, was it a preparation issue from the coaching staff on down, maybe as you've alluded to somewhat? Was it execution on the field? If you could pinpoint kind of the issue and diagnose it, looking toward Miami next week and how you're ramping up for that game, I guess what's your analysis of that?
I just feel like overall, Adam, listen, we did some good things, right? I mean, that's a good football team. Give them credit. They've been a good football team. And so we were up 10-0 on them at half. And, then there was a pretty drastic swing in the second half there, and where we didn't play good football, and we didn't coach good football at times in that stretch, and so you're going back and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hey, we can do things better. Fundamentally, we can do things better. Our plan can be better. Putting the players in position, I got to do a better job of that, and then when we have opportunities. When those opportunities came up, we got to make the most of them. And I didn't think we did that as well. I mean, you go back to the first, after the kickoff return, and we've got the ball at the plus 20 some yard line, and we come away with 3 points. That's a moral victory for the opponent at that point, right? So there were opportunities for us in the game, and we didn't take advantage of them. I felt like just overall as a team, coaches included here.
Thank you, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Nick Fierro here for Sports Illustrated, covering you guys now. I wanted to ask you about the offensive line. You addressed it a little bit last night. And I know when Dion came back off the COVID list, you were saying that he had ways to go. Was yesterday maybe kind of an example of that? And what did you think about just the rest of the guys too?
Yeah, no, I don't think he was affected. That's probably more of a direct question for him. But as far as I'm aware, he was not affected by the COVID piece yesterday. As I said, along with the entire offensive line, I didn't think we won our one-on-one matchups enough. There were times when we won those matchups, but not enough times. And then at the same time, we have to help them out. I mean, that was a formidable group they were up against, and we've got to do a better job of helping them out in those situations at times through our plan.
Hey, Sean, I know you guys probably haven't started to really break down any Dolphins tape yet, but it's a familiar opponent and they added a couple weapons in the first and second round. So what do you know, at least right now, about the team that you're going to face on Sunday?
Yeah, honestly, Maddie, very little. I know they're 1-0. I know a little bit about their personnel. I know they've added some weapons to the offensive side of the ball. And that's about it, to be honest with you. So that's where I'm at.
Hey, Sean, just real quick, talking about Josh's play yesterday, I know you mentioned how, you guys didn't capitalize on certain opportunities. He mentioned in particular that when a defense allows you to make a certain play, like where he overthrew Emmanuel deep, there were a couple, deep shots that he missed. I guess just from your perspective, what did you see from his play? And maybe, is that something where you need to kind of talk to him so that this doesn't become a thing where he gets too much in his head? I mean, I know he said he thought he tried to do too much kind of early there too.
Yeah, no, Josh is a self-aware person and athlete. He's been in the game, enough years now where he can self-correct, and that's important. He's humble with admitting to some of those that he wants back. And so, we talk about those things as a team. I know he's spoken with, Ken Dorsey, his coach, and Brian Dable as well. And they've discussed some of that. And it's all about, hey, how can we be better this coming week, and making sure we're taking those steps towards that direction this week as we move forward in practice here. So, listen, we knew the environment was going to be that way, and that's the way we want it. Again, give credit to our fans. That said, we've got to be able to execute at a higher level in certain situations.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Coach George Redney, Challenger Community News. How you doing this afternoon?
Good, George. How you doing?
Pretty good. I just have one question for you, and that's on Dion Dawkins. What we all been seeing from the effects of the COVID-19 is, it seems, with it being a respiratory situation. We even saw Chris Paul for the Phoenix Suns in the finals there. When he came back from COVID, you could see that the energy level and the stamina seems to be down. My question is there any considerations to maybe even having, like you had Spencer Brown as the backup yesterday, maybe platooning, have him in, giving him a rest? Because it seems like his endurance and stamina, and definitely losing those 15 pounds, his strength seemed like he just wasn't himself yesterday.
Yeah, we're always going to go and look at those things, with our medical staff, George, and make sure that he's right and healthy and as ready to go and strong as he needs to be in order to do the job.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach, good afternoon. Wookie Hawkins, Well Sports Today. How's it going?
Hey, Mookie, how are you, buddy?
I'm okay, Coach. I'm all right. The tight end play in that second half, how do you feel that they affected that ball game yesterday? And give us your overall assessment of your team week 1.
You talking about our tight ends or their tight ends?
Their tight ends, the Pittsburgh Steelers tight ends, how were they able to affect the game in the second half for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Ben, like any good veteran quarterback, spreads the ball around. They drafted Freiermuth out of Penn State and thought he was effective at times. And then Ebron made a catch or two. And then give me the last question was assessing.
Just your overall assessment, just seeing your team play for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't get the result we wanted. So as I said before, that starts with me, and I got to make sure I'm putting them in position. And then, we got to do some things better, just fundamentally better. I thought fundamentally we were flawed in some areas that we got to do better. And blocking, catching, tackling, throwing, opportunities on the ball, taking care of the football, not beating yourself with penalties, the discipline behind that. To me, that's what jumps off the page and off the film when you look at the film.
Absolutely, man. And we always know that, if they're going to get you, you better get me week 1. It's a long season, and I'm quite sure that your team will be ready every step of the way. So good luck next week, Coach.
Thanks, Mookie. Appreciate it.
That's all the questions we have for today. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.